and be ready for handover to SAPREF by 31st December 2022. That is, in essence, the change that they request.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Any comments, colleagues? I think the presentation is clear. It's clear for me. The only thing is that why should this conversion take a year? I mean, shouldn't it take less than that? Mr. Mkhize? That's all.
It is the processes that they've outlined, and not the kind of failures they've had in the past, is that to ask to push them to squeeze it to lower than to less than a year. And a person is squeezed to do construction in an expedited manner, and then the person gets some problems and comes back to ask for another amendment. You're trying to be reasonable enough to not be having this administrative burden of dealing with the amendments, noting that things like inclement weather may also affect construction, as such, particularly for pipelines that are in the open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. If we could just move to the recommendation, which is on page 14 of 14. There's paragraph 5.1 through to 5.3. Can we, by show of hands, colleagues, approve those recommendations? Thank you. Ms. Masetti, Ms. Mkhize, and everyone else, including myself. So we proceed, colleagues. Thank you very much. That has been approved, Mr. Mkhize. The last item that you have to proceed, Mr. Mkhize, it's a noting matter. And given the fact that we've had the opportunity of attending some extended workshops, and this was dealt with extensively, can we consider it read, Mr. Mkhize, and then we note?
I'm happy with that, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, colleagues. Can we then note by show of hands? Thank you very much, Mr. Nseti, Mr. Gumede, Mr. Tola, Mr. Pongo, Mr. With the items of the Petroleum Pipeline Subcommittee. We will then revert back to, although in the minutes, Secretary, that the order must still appear as the agenda. We then move on to the agenda item, the electricity report. So, colleagues, now I'm at the right place. We now move on to the electricity subcommittee reports. Mr. Gumede, you have the floor. I'm not sure whether this will be in order, but if you want to take 3 agenda items at the same time, you're welcome to do that. Obviously, we will vote one by one when we deal with them. Please go ahead, Mr. Gumede.
Thank you. Good morning to members and also stakeholders here present. Chairperson, thank you for the offer. I will actually like to actually have the first 3 submissions tackled at once. When we deal with the decisions, of course, we need to actually look at each one of them separately because they are distinct, and also in terms of location, they are actually at different locations. However, just by Car Powerships that was granted a license to operate and to operate a generation facility in terms of the risk mitigation program. They locations. The first one is in respect of Richards Bay. The next one would be Kucha, and the last one would be in Saldanha. This was asked by members of the ELS. The committee did recommend to the energy regulator to these licenses, but they did raise a couple of questions. The main one being the implications for NERSA if the said application in terms of the EIA, the appeal that Karpowership has lodged, if that is not successful, how then will that not affect NERSA's work, or will that not affect the actual application for these licenses? I guess as indicated even during the deliberation on the and its jurisdiction. Number, which has to obtain a number of approvals. If one of the approvals fail, clearly the actual license itself as electricity distribution connection facility license with conditions, and which is attached here to as appendix. Just to indicate, Chair, that this particular one this particular distribution facility would be located in Richards Bay in KZN. It would be perimeter long, operating at 132 kV. It will start Karpowership Richards Bay point of production and end at Eskom's new Ingwe switching substation. Chairperson, I revert back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gumede. Let's start with the Richards Bay one. Mr. Gumede, can I suggest maybe you is that shouldn't we, where we mention six on page, I think it's 3 of reflect in page 4 of 22 of the RFD. Would you be in agreement with that?
As you've requested previously, and it makes a lot of sense that the recommendations should be able to stand on their own. That if someone were to look and say, what is it that the regulator, that the regulator made in terms of that recommendation, it must be quite clear. Just the recommendation, it makes a lot of sense, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. If I don't have any further questions. If there are any other questions, if colleagues, the recommendations, as I said, the page 3 of 22, to approve the car power distribution, and obviously the decision will actually be extracted from the RFD recommendation B. With that, can we show by hands, colleagues? Ms. Sibanda and everybody. Sorry, there's a hand that's Mr. Gumete. Address all of them.
And that is actually captured, the characteristics are captured in the draft decision, which is on page 4 of 21. In essence, this particular one is would be located in Kuha in Eastern Cape. It is 1 kilometer long and also connects at 132 kV connect into
Can we go to the recommendations? They appear on page 3 of 21, and they will be augmented by the page 4 of 21 in terms of the draft decision. Can you show by hands whether we approve? Mr. Gumete, Ms. Maseji, Ms. Ubonse, Mr. Sibanda. Oh, okay. Yeah, we apologize. We hope that she will be able to attend to the issues. Please let us know when she is back. Thank you very much, Mr. Mabunda. Mr. Gumete, you have the floor for Saldanha once.
Thank you, Chairperson, and we wish to see your family that they can deal with that matter. And except this particular one is actually going to be in Sutherland. province. It will be 3.5 kilometers long and also connects at 132 kV. It connects from the car power ship. It will connect from the car power ship generation facility, which will be in Saldanha Bay, and will connect to the new to Eskom's new.
The recommendations are 3 of 22, and then of course merged with the draft decision to make sure that it's comprehensive. By show of hands, colleagues, can we vote? Mr. Gumede, is Mr. Sivanda still in the meeting?
Is Mlelo Total Kucha. They had to deal with. They are now coming again as in terms of and there are no new matters on this one. We are therefore asking the energy regulator to approve the issuing of the generation license to Mlelo Total Kucha Pty Limited, and to also approve the draft. Decision document. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gumede. Any questions, colleagues? From my side, Gumede, just a quick one on page 15, where the draft decision is, the characteristics that will form part of the decision. I was looking at something like the size of the generation, or the rating, as it were, the license.
I think it makes no sense that when we say that we how it looks like. For instance, if it was just pure solar, we should have indicated it was a solar PV, but this particular one is a combination. Megawatts. So that Chairperson, we should actually just extract it. Of that table as you have indicated. Again, Chair, we are going to be improving with time in terms of making sure our recommendations contain.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gumede. Much appreciated those improvements. Colleagues, any further comments? If there are none, colleagues, we can page 26 couple in the FRD, and Mr. Gumede indicated the improvement that will be effected there in terms of showing hands. Mr. Maseti, Mr. Mkiza, Mr. Gumede. Mr. Mabunda.
Chair, thank you. I wanted to inform you again that the CEO's matter seems to be resolved. She's back with us.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mabunda. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairperson. This one is welcome. We only had, prior to this one, only really had one trading license, other than the one distribution licenses in respect of municipalities and Eskom. So EN Power would be the second independent. Well, then maybe the third, if I call it that. It is electricity in the George municipality, in the George municipality area. If in agreement with municipality, they can do so. George municipality itself will continue to trade as well in the same area. The committee engaged with this document. We actually even had a public hearing where actually made extensive presentation, and also George municipality they also presented through a consultant, if I recall. The question that was asked about the sustainability of the of trade, but the committee was assured that the trading margin will be sufficient to actually make the service to be sustainable. The physical electron where the money is made, but in terms of trading, in fact, even the trading of contracts themselves, so the derivatives is basically where most of the money is generated. There was another big issue that was raised around this, that it seemed like in terms of this particular license, there was no requirement for PPE, and it was in terms of those licenses.
Sorry, Mr. Gumede, there was no requirement for what? I just missed that part. Thank you.
PEE, for Black Economic Empowerment.
Oh, okay.
It seemed that there was no requirement, there is no arrangement on that. But the issue that was clarified that in respect of the Electricity Regulation Act, there is no explicit requirement for that in terms of Section 10 of the Act. That are being applied for. So, Chairperson, having considered and addressed all of the issues that were raised by colleagues, we are here, Chair, to request the energy regulator to approve the issuing of the trading license, and that whole list, Chair. Approve the issuing of the trading license as a trader, and it also approved the discounted prices in terms of 15.2, because we need to approve the price of the licensee and to approve the 5% discounted price in terms of the and for offsite customers, approve Solar Africa Pty Limited to be included in the approve BCC George Pty Limited, Rainbow Place Property, Blue Mountain, Eden Park, Body Corporate, and Applewood Trading to be included in Schedule 3. To note the 25-year generation PPA for customers. I'm not sure that to name them like that. But there was no application for confidentiality. But Chairperson, I'm being cautious, perhaps, and then of course then to approve the draft decision and the for decision. I thank you, Chair.
Is what to say you'll be doing in the future with others. So we can just look at the recommendation as you've just highlighted it. Customer, do they have to come back to us, or they would do they themselves? That is the first question. And the other question, I see that 5.6, there's a whole question of the party to the price discharged. What is the situation in this regard? Thank you very much.
I guess all of these questions that you've asked, especially in respect of 5.5. So with the current trader, every time they add a customer or they add a in the TRM cannot powers, which cannot be delegated to a single member of the regulator. But for expediency's sake, because these are conditions of license. Until we have a look at these conditions of license in terms of whether they are still necessary, that is still the case, that it is a condition of license. So they would need to come back, but we needed to then refine the process to make it as simple as possible. In respect of PPA's chair, so that is actually part of the condition of license that at least the regulator should note. Objectives or prescripts. So that is in fact what the noting is really just to assure ourselves that, for instance, to make sure that there is no abuse of power by one party over the other.
I think we could have it's gone quiet.
I'll try to call him offside.
Is it not possible to dispense of this matter by perhaps nominating one of the party members, as we usually do, just to proceed, since we have external stakeholders here? If we could kindly nominate a part-time member to chair until Mr. Mokoena joins. May I, if that is in order, Mr. Mabunda and Mr. Tokwe, may I then nominate Mr. Sibanda to chair until Mr. Mokoena comes in?
Ms. Maset, the chairperson also nominated Mr. Sibanda, so I think it's in order. May proceed in that line.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sibanda.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Mr. Mayor,